Good evening, everybody. I'm home sweet home after 2 days, and now a good meeting I had with some loyal insiders who've been with me a long time, and we had a good sit down to iron out a bunch of things going forward with Alberta and in relation to everything in Canada. So I want to make a major announcement. Myself and some really loyal followers have decided the best way to go forward with the dynamics of Alberta and the rest of Canada, the gross problems we see in both right and left narratives, the extremism that exists both left and right. That's reality. And I've spent literally since my time in 2019 trying to map out the best path forward for everybody. And in doing so, that's taken me on a global journey, a lot of which is absolutely unbelievable. It's been just glorious on many fronts in global economics relative to Canada, global legal concepts and constitutionalism by many, many nations. I've brought all that together, and then I look at my own people right across Canada and right here in my beloved Alberta, and to see the mass uneducation and absolute false narratives that come forward. These are pressed by both right and left narratives and everything in between. And it's a fault of our system. I truly believe that. It's only strengthened my resolve in all the monumental tasks I've completed on a global stage, gaining many of the best top of their field in many countries, talk to ministers, Supreme Court justices out in the EU, out in former Soviet countries, out in Russia and USA, predominantly imposed constitutional societies. Hundreds, okay? Hundreds of them. And it's brought me to a realization with how everyone's brought up here in Canada, how we are educated relatively to that world, the world that is outside of our borders, and which much has come upon us through our political parties, and still the same narratives keep coming out. And no matter, everybody knows something's wrong. Everybody from every walk knows there's something wrong. They just don't know how to get there. And I feel like I've found that answer, and that's why I'm going forward now with the federal party. I went to Elections Canada today. I spent hours with them on the phone. Valuable insights in my crossover into that threshold. Yes, I'm name registered. The party will be rolled out. I'm not going to disclose any of the concepts or named ideas, as I need a website up. And often, more than not, when I tip the scales or tip the narrative, what happens is wealthy individuals with unscrupulous narratives will always buy up the domain names. Right now, mine is secure and very cheap, but it's going to come forward and give all of you an entire sense of new narrative. Just like there's liberal, just like there's labor, just like there's conservative, just like there's green. A one-word answer to a new narrative that Canadians must be educated and must be embraced. I have a great action plan. A number of us sat down together, some pretty good minds here in Alberta, to flesh this out. And so I've decided to go forward with that. It's going to be right across Canada, just as PPC was, but it's not going to be like anything that's ever been seen in Canada before. Elections Alberta, or Canada, sorry, is excited about it. They were kind of pressing me for information, but I said, no, it's not going to be like that. But it most definitely will bolster all provincial parties, breakdown of constitutionalism and education and real legal means for every citizen in every walk of life. Not a partisan that's going to be left, right, or in between, or other extremes. It's really going to be all about a fantastic education for every province and on a federal system to really empower the citizens of Canada. These are going to address all the concerns with real experts outlined in every riding we can grab which I see this easily being achieved. And the insiders close to me are very, very excited about that. We're going to come up with a website, have everything in place over the next 2 weeks to be able to pre-register with Elections Canada. And I believe probably in the next 6 months that will be rolled out absolutely for everybody. And I hope you will all enjoy that, as it will absolutely bolster and strengthen each and every province, each and every narrative that people want to go with, and give them an absolute way to get the work they need done without all the infighting. This will be absolutely nothing that's ever been seen in Canada. A major experiment that's been done in this world. You just don't know about it many, many times over many key periods in our history here in this earth. And I'm going to bring that to Canada, and I think I'm going to have a number of renowned experts who are going to embrace this from all walks and all lines to come across. This is going to include economics as it really is, legality as it really is, and all kinds of legal terms that you're not all familiar with, that aren't explored by the nature of our political party system here in Canada. It's going to be a viable option for everybody, a great education, and it's going to be registered politically, so it's cemented, so it can get the backing of those institutions that are like-minded. They're absolutely going to strengthen each and every one of you. This will solve the crisis, not only across Canada, independence here in Alberta, which will be bolstered by this too. Like I said, I'd love to go into more detail, but at this time, if I do, I will have those same nefarious characters that come forward looking to make a buck. And this absolutely is not about making money. It's never been about making money for me, and I'm going to keep that out. And the beautiful part about this is you don't need that massive organization. You just need the morality to be able to strengthen the people. And it's the organizations that are going to come forward with this concept that are absolutely going to like it, who are going to be the strength for all of you and to give you the real narrative. And that's what I believe. So going further in major updates here, so I hope you all share this. It's pretty groundbreaking, and it will be. That's the update for now. So I'll be removing myself from any provincial political. I'll still always celebrate the narrative of independence. I will continue to educate on that front. But this is going to take it much, much further and much, much larger. Something that every Canadian can get on board with. And let's just see when a real narrative, a world global narrative that backs up a lot of what your fears are in real legal and economic terms, so you can all understand what has happened here in Canada, where we are going, and what you absolutely have to know. So you don't have to rely on people's narratives from YouTube. You can rely on the experts to absolutely give you that. And they're more than likely going to want to stand on this kind of stage politically, where they're safe and sound, where they get to voice the truths for you and can't be held liable. And that's what you all need. You need to have a clean, fresh start to look at things as they are, not as it's propagated by each and every narrative that we see in all political parties. It's a corruption of the system, a fault of our Constitution that requires many changes and requires much eyes on deck, hands on deck. To get there and to get you all there, that's what this is going to be for. And it's absolutely going to strengthen each and every one of you. That is the goal. Not about money, but it will be there right across Canada for everybody. And I think a lot of people will be able to get on board with it. Now I'm going to get into the narratives I want to get across today. We all saw Trump's sayonara speech. I'm out of here. Good luck with the next government. Wishing everybody well. Highlight of his role in office. I want to touch on what's happened here. I just had Senator Chris Murphy just a few hours ago tag me to come watch his live. I watched it. It was right there in Senate and what they're going through on appointments for the Biden administration and interviews going forward. I want everybody to know absolutely beyond Excel, Keystone XL, that we're going to watch go bye-bye tomorrow. That's absolutely going to be true. And more so, Senator Chris Murphy, Democrat, who is up in the administration. He's going with the Biden administration. He's one of them. Another one I've contacted of the two Democrats I talked to was absolutely him and Senator Wyden, who were very endearing and took the time to really help me over the last 2 years. For Democrats, just two. That's all I ever got from that side. A lot of Republicans, but these two specific ones helped me in some key areas. And I'll tell you what the direction is now. Line 5, Michigan, that is the next one. State sovereignty, Michigan wants to scrap that. That is coming. Also, absolutely released today, and the path going forward is stronger ties with Saudi Arabia through the Democrats. That means, obviously, more trade in oil, which is what we see in Eastern Canada, which is likely what is to replace Line 5. Not Western oil from Alberta or the Western Canada. Not going to happen. We're going to lose Line 5. The idea of energy corridor, east and west, is going to absolutely be lost, as Trudeau will jump on board with the Saudi Arabia narrative. He's already there. Whatever weakening deals they've made, it's likely to go back the other way, everybody. So get ready for the east in Line 5, 800,000 barrels a day. In absence of that, it's going to be Saudi Arabia. These are OPEC deals with that American narrative. America wants to produce their production levels. They don't want to hurt them. So they're going to cancel some of Canada's, and they're going to take, in relation, they're going to take that from Saudi Arabia as a deal to maintain oil prices coming in the future. That's absolutely what's happening. More than that, my ties with Bloomberg and economics. Today, we had a great writer from the Financial Post reiterate a lot of the things I've talked about economically. He wrote a great story. We exchanged on Twitter. We're going to be in contact going forward on global economics. I expect with this new federal party I designed, we are going to have those narratives on board, which he absolutely goes through in great economic detail. The absolute shame of the Justin Trudeau economic platform that they're rolling out for the next 3 years. This $1 trillion borrowing over 3 years does not meet the three creditors that do the credit reports for countries, and they are not on board with Canada's rollout. Chrystia Freeland, a journalist, not an economist, not a wise move in this Justin Trudeau path forward. And Canadians, Albertans understand why I have to do this federal rollout, because somebody has to fight the narrative, as you're absolutely being led into a serious economic crisis. That is coming, an irreparable damage in borrowing $1 trillion when it is not reflective in any kind of absolute economic benefits. Meaning, in these times when a government does borrowing for economic benefit, it has to show world credit reporters to the major organizations that put out the money, and so everybody knows that's USD. America controls the world currency. That's reality. Canada trades on that. They trade in the New York Stock Exchange along with Toronto. Our currency's going there. And if we don't have a viable path with the monumental amount of money we're going to borrow in the next 3 years, if there's no real measured economic benefit to the things we're doing, we're ultimately devalued and traded at less. And all investors across every industry foreign will pull, not only as they have out of Alberta at a massive rate, they will begin to pull out of Canada at a massive rate too. That will go every year as we see her roll out as finance minister, roll out the $333 plus billion a year, which is likely to be more. That's just what they say now as they print Canadian money, because that's where it's coming from. But the money we already owe to foreign creditors is going to be added to a payment rate. We're going to watch interest rates on those as our debt becomes more and more unsecured and investors begin to pull the pin out of Canada. This is real economics, real global assessment. It's not the World Economic Forum. These are people who actually do the work like myself, who are actually a lot more credited than myself, but stand ultimately on the world stage, have absolute CEO positions in companies that determine this stuff or determine investments, foreign and domestic here in Canada. And now they're starting to speak up. They're starting to say, hey, yeah, whoa, wait a minute. There's truth and validity in this. And this is only going to grow for me. And people can laugh. I'm never going to be a first-class citizen. And that's okay. I don't have any ideal that I want to improve my wealth. I do want to empower each and every Canadian. I do want to empower each and every Albertan. And I do want to see parties become successful in their narratives and not walk face first into the always same narrative of a small group running everything, and ultimately they go to the corruption, which Canada is plumb full of corruption. We're seeing it now. It is always and has always been about a wealthy class that absolutely determines in their moral sense where you're all going to go, what your future is, what your value's going to be, and how you're going to be valued out globally. What place they're going to put you globally, whether you know better or not, or even if they know better or not. We don't have any kind of protections in place, and I will be taking the best of the best across all of Canada legal community. I will be taking the best of the best world economics and Canadian economics that are domestic right here in Canada, EDA by EDA, building a legacy of the 338 right across Canada, so that all of you are empowered by the best of the best to know absolutely what you need to know. And people say, how can this be done? We've got it ironed out. It always takes an amount of thinking. It's taken over a year to come to this conclusion, this reality, and we're going to be rolling that out. A small group of us, but then we're going to be sharing it out to the rest of Canada so many can come on board. And you'll all get to see that happen. And yes, it will bolster and strengthen provincial parties and provincial narratives, whichever those are, in each and every province and in each and every territory, as well as a federal system to boot. So it's unlike anything ever done in Canadian history. Let's see what happens. That's the news for today. And you can all wait for it, but what I've just told you, which was just laid out by the Democrats live in Senate, is where America's going, which is where Justin Trudeau's going to be taking the Liberals, with Saudi Arabia. So if everybody doesn't believe that, sorry, you can wait for it to happen, or you can take my word for it. Line 5 is absolutely the next one, and there isn't in this system going to be a corridor east and west, no matter how politicians champion that, no matter how much of their heart's in the right place. Our system is designed to fail on any of those fronts, and that's why I'm rolling out what I'm rolling, and we're going to educate all Canadians, empower all of you. Thanks, that's my video today. I hope you all share it out, get it out there, because it's real. It's going to be coming, and you're all going to see it. Thanks now.